What should a loan officer who's consistently closing under $1 million a month in 4 units do to ramp up and get consistency in their income? I'm your host, Steve Kyles. You're listening to the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast, powered by the Mortgage Marketing Animals. And Carl White, what a great topic. As you know, this has been a defining year, and it's exciting because I think this is a question that many loan officers are asking. Hey, look, I used to close $2 to $4 million a month. Market shifted. I'm struggling right now to get consistently above $1 million. What the heck do I do? What are some of the keys or strategies that I can do today to get consistency in my volume, in my units, and see even bigger results? And so, Carl, I thought we'd jump on a podcast. Let's talk about it, man. What a great conversation. And I think you can shed some insight on how to get consistently above $1 million.
All right, boy, that is a great topic because you know what we're really asking here, and this topic was your idea, which is absolutely brilliant topic. What you're really asking is if we're under a million, we're just getting by,
Mm,
like as income. So like
yeah.
if I'm closing uh like one or two loans a month, I'm doing okay. I'm doing, let's say I'm at a steady two loans a month. I'm averaging 300,000, so 600,000 a month. I'm doing okay. I'm probably making between 60, 50, 75,000, after I pay, the things that I have to pay and depending on my
Yep.
bit plan and whatnot. And not a bad income, right? There's
Yep.
nothing wrong with that. But what you're asking on this question is how do I go from getting by and
Hmm.
maybe a little comfortable, sort of, to really benefiting from just a great income. The stress of the my own mortgage payment is gone. The stress of, hey, I need to go get a new car is gone.
Mm,
The
yeah.
stress of sending the kids to college
Yep.
without all the student debt, it's gone. The, hey, you know what? From time to time, we can fly first class, and it feels good to sit in a comfortable chair and get the little warm peanuts and maybe a little glass of bubbly or something, and they give you a little bit more attention. Or
Yep.
maybe when I go stay in a hotel, we get the suite, so we got a little bit more space, and so it really changes things. Like going on the north side of 2 million, or north side of a million, approaching 2 million, is really a major change in lifestyle.
Hmm.
And all the people that I can help in my personal life, and I've
Hmm.
been wanting to help this one association, or my I've got a cousin that's kind of down on his luck. I'd like to help those people. That's the real question here: is
Mm.
how can I go from getting by to a life of abundance,
Ooh,
closing
ooh,
loans? That's the
yeah,
real question that we're asking
yeah,
here. All right, so let's get into it, man. So I last year in 2023, I was closed. I had a couple months where I goose egg, perhaps,
yep,
and a couple months I closed one or two. I had that one month that I closed four, but most of it was like one or two, a couple of zeros here and there.
yep,
How do I get to that solid, say, five? We'll call it that. A north, say
yeah,
five on the north side of five, 5 to 10.
yeah,
How do I
yep.
how do I get to that solid 5 to 10, where it's seven, eight, nine loans
Mm.
each and every month? What's the first thing that I would do, Steve?
Yeah, the first thing that you would do is evaluate where, like for me personally, and let me say it with this first off. Let me start by clarity comes by taking action. So we don't wait to make a plan. So you start taking action as you're sharpening and evaluating what your business is currently doing. So the first thing I think about is there's got to be consistency in sales. So the biggest challenge with somebody, or if my volume is going from 0 to 2 and 2 to 0 and then 4, it probably has to do with number one, do I have a plan? And not only a plan, Carl, like what am I doing on Monday? You don't wake up where it's like, hey, Monday's here. Who am I going to call? What do I say? Tuesday's here. Who am I going to call? What do I do? What do I say? So there's got to be an understanding that there's a clear plan and what we call a process to prospecting. I think the number one determining factor to consistent income is, do I have a consistent process that already produces results. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It's not 22 ways to whatever it is. It's literally 2 hours a day of prospecting will literally produce massive results. So, do I have a plan? And like for us, we have what we call the daily success plan. It's Monday through Thursday. And then on Monday, it's got a theme day. Tuesday's a theme day. Wednesday's a theme day. Thursday's a theme day. And the reason why we do it is because it's got consistency to outbound prospecting. And so, number one, I think you got to have a plan. Number two, you got to calendar that plan, which means I'm putting it in my schedule. Carl, we talk about this all the time. If it's not in my calendar, it's not real because my calendar forces me to show up even when I don't feel like it. And I think the up and down of consistency and income, it's either a plan or it's a lack of accountability and discipline, or hey, I'm just not being consistent with my accountability and discipline of showing up and doing the work each and every day. So, number one, you got to have a plan. Number two, we got to calendar that plan. Number three, you got to show up. And one of the things we do is many of our members here know that we have something, a part of our membership called Call Stars. And so many of the loan officers in my branch and your branch are actually attending Call Stars each day because it's the daily accountability from 9 to 11. Am I making my outbound calls based on a theme for each day? So part of it is not only do I have a plan, not only am I is it in my calendar, but am I being held accountable to that plan? And the
Mhm.
last one, I think you got to just keep measuring results. Is the activity I'm doing giving me the right results? And that leads you to, hey, did I call the right people? Did I ask for the business every time? I'm working with a team right now, Carl, and we've mapped out a plan to $100 million this year. And one of the things I found out that not everybody on the team was asking for the business. So what we did was we spent the last 2 weeks going over three of our simple scripts. One of them's our 3x3. Can I count on you when you have a friend, family, coworker looking to buy, sell, or refi? One of our other scripts is to our agents. Who do you have today that I could help you get pre-approved to ensure it's a good use of your time? So once you've done the activity, I've been held accountable. You got to evaluate if your results are coming because you can be making the calls and not asking for the business. And we're missing the opportunity. And the last thing is you just pivot based on your results. So I got a plan, I calendar the plan, I'm accountable to the plan, I evaluate the results, and then I begin to pivot based on, hey, did this work? Did this work? What do I need to sharpen? And I think that that's really at the core of helping someone go from zero to 4, 5, 6, 7 loans consistently, because the biggest challenge is plan, discipline, or not doing the right activity. So
And I think like having a plan, it can't just be a plan.
it's got to be a
Which,
proven
which
plan.
yeah, it's got to be
Yeah.
a proven plan, right? One
Yeah.
that, hey, I see Lisa's doing, and Debbie's doing, and Jimmy's
Yeah.
doing, and Frank's doing, and I'm seeing these loan officers doing it, and not just a plan that I saw somebody on a TikTok show me this magic bean something, and yeah, it's got to be a plan that I see other people doing,
Hmm.
um, and ideally,
That
I
doesn't
guess
require superpower. Like, I mean,
it
just
does
for
not require
that's
superpower.
because sometimes the personality is so big and of course they win, but the plan's got to be so simple that anyone sitting in that seat who executes the plan the same way gets
Yeah,
the same results.
yeah, yeah. I like that, and following through. So you said something early on. Clarity comes in action.
Hmm.
So I've never heard that before. So are you saying that I start taking action first,
Yep.
and then I get clarity of the success of it or what to do next
That's
as
it.
I'm so in other words, if I'm in Florida and I want to go to California,
Yeah.
just start driving that direction,
Yeah.
and then the clarity of the exact path will come to me as I get further and further and further down the road and see what
That's it.
weather conditions are along. If I
Yeah.
try to plan the whole trip from A to B sitting here in my living room, odds are I'll never leave my living room because
That's
I'm
it.
I'm constantly working on the plan. And well, maybe this is better, and maybe this is better. and I'm not actually doing anything. But dude, I like that.
Hey, well, and I wish I could take credit for it. I heard somebody say it the other day, and I just thought, and I think it even the way it rolled off the cuff, and I thought, no, 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 don't let that go so quickly because Carl, it goes back to this. We've seen part of the challenge in staying from zero, one, two, or three loans a month is there's all this planning and preparation, and I've got to get my list right, and I got to get my script perfect. And what we found was this: no, 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 take action. And then as I'm taking action, hey, we've talked about it. One of the loan officers in my group, great loan officer, Nate. I can remember in January of this last year, he just had to start doing the work. And February did the work, and March did the work, and some of the results weren't adding up. And we kept diving deeper into it, and we realized, wow, you're doing the work, but not all the agents are qualified. So let's tweak that. And then it's like every month we begin to tweak something. But had he stood inactive, making sure everything was perfect, he wouldn't have taken action. And instead, here's what happens is he got better with his conversations. He got more confident with his phone calls. He learned who to call. And all that happened because he took action instead of perfection. It goes back to what we say on the podcast all the time. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. But as you get started, clarity will come as you're taking action. Carl, you said it all year last year. Action is the symptom of desire. And I think that's such a big, big piece is don't sit on the sidelines waiting for the perfect plan. Some of you may say, I'm waiting for the perfect, some of you may need to move mortgage companies. Some of you may need to move mortgage teams. Some of you may need to do insert in, whatever that is. And you're saying, I'll do it when. And our challenge is do it now and the clarity will come because there's nothing like momentum on your side. You can pivot, you can shift, you can sharpen when you're moving. Hey, it's like this, Carl. Think about this beautiful red Corvette. Man, I got a gorgeous, souped up, glossy, pristine red Corvette. And man, I'm sitting there inside my Corvette and I'm thinking about, wow, this is going to be great. And I try to shift it at a standstill. So I'm in first gear, I'm not moving, and I shift gears. I don't get anything. But if at least I'm in first gear and I'm running the RPMs to,
You're
3,
moving.
4,000 RPMs and I'm 15, 20 miles an hour, once I shift, I now accelerate
Mm.
easier, faster, smoother, simpler because you shift gears with momentum, not at a dead standstill. And that's what I think about businesses. It's been too often we've tried to shift gears and think I'm gonna wait when, as opposed to drive first, shift gears as your RPMs rev up, and that's how you see massive, massive results.
Dude, I love that because I could sit, man.
I know
It's a
you got
great
a
picture.
beautiful red Corvette. I know
I,
it.
I could sit in the driveway and go through the gears, but until I put my foot on the gas,
That's
I'm not
it.
going anywhere.
No, and you know what's interesting? Because I've really been thinking a lot about this analogy because it has to do with momentum. And here's what's great. The faster you go, when you shift, the easier it's on the engine. And that's what's so powerful is the hardest movement is always from 0 to 4 consistently a month, 0 to 6. Why? It's a plan, it's action, it's discipline, it's accountability, it's pivoting on results, it's being in the right community, it's collaborating with people doing the same thing. But once you get to that 3, 4, 5, 6, I shift gears. Now it begins to be a who. It begins to be a team. It begins to be a process that's
Mhm.
consistent. It begins to remove the busyness. I think our industry is intoxicated with less effective activities that produce less results. And if I can focus on the activities that give me the biggest results, that's where it gets fun because now I'm driving 70 miles an hour in fourth gear and my RPMs are like 2,000. I think about you. I was telling somebody this week, it was actually a loan officer I was talking to yesterday, and I was talking to her about shifting gears. And I said, Here's the thing. One of the things that I think, like if I were to say, what did Carl teach me in the last 3 years? I would say I want to do the least amount of work that produces my desired result. And that doesn't speak to laziness, it speaks to effectiveness. And every day we've got to wake up and say, look, I can spend 8 hours today. What am I going to do? Like, hey, Carl, here's a question I've really challenged my team with is I said, you know what? what we've got to be looking at this coming year in order to be consistent in our income and our activity and in what we're producing is, what am I doing? I need to keep doing. But here's the bigger question. What am I doing? I need to stop doing. I think so many loan officers, the greatest word you could add to your vocabulary this next 12 months is the word no. What meetings are you attending? What trainings are you doing that are not incongruent or in alignment with what you're doing? How many times are you getting pulled into things that literally won't move the needle in your business and are causing less effective results? And learning how to say no, I think, is also a big part. Like, look, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and she's like, "I've been to 14 chamber meetings, and I went to all these realtor meetings." And my question is, great. How many qualified agents did you meet? Well, I don't know, a couple. And I said, don't you think you could have been on the phone 2 hours and met the same number that you literally spent 3 days going to all these meetings that are less productive? And so I think that's a fight too. So, hey, and
Yeah.
listen, if you're listening today and you want help with it, go to freedomplanningcall.com. Freedomplanningcall.com. Myself, Carl, Kristen, we'd love to help you with a plan and help you map out your next 12 months goals and what your 90-day action plan is. We have something called a one-page business plan. It is a game changer on what you can do today to start seeing first fast results and ensure that you gain that momentum so that you can shift gears and go from 3 to 4 to 6 to 10 to 15 closings a month. And so freedomplanningcall.com. Carl, any thoughts on that?
Man, a lot of good stuff there. I thought of a example here as you were sharing some of the information that I was following this group thread where somebody had spent like a week or 2 weeks trying to figure out how to text somebody, how to do a group text. And it's like, dude, just pick up the phone and call them. Like they spend so much effort avoiding an activity.
Mm.
Like just and there's nothing wrong with texting, right? I think it's as long as you do it, compliantly, of course.
After you
Nothing
make
wrong
the
with
calls. Yeah.
yeah,
It's an
but
after you make the calls activity.
after you make the call. So it's
Yeah.
and so if you want to go, if you're on the south side of a million a month, and when you're ready to go to the north side of a million a month,
Mm.
which is a game changer, it is. It's life changing. It literally is. Um, Man, it's real simple. It's just more calls,
Mhm.
less 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 of everything else is getting less clutter, less um yeah, just less of everything else. I don't know of a better way to say it, but that's what I found is the more time. Look, the more offers you make, the more money you'll make, and instead of working on all the widgets all the time, and some of the widgets are great widgets. I use some widgets, right? I use some phenomenal widgets in my business after I make my phone calls,
That's it.
make our phone calls first. And so anyway, kind of sound like a simple answer, but frankly, it is. It's frankly a very simple solution for a simple problem. You want to make more sales, make more offers,
Mm.
um,
Mhm.
and make the offers. You know, Make the offers more personable,
Yeah.
so, or more authentic, more
Yeah.
less like a marketing plan and more like you're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
That's where it's all about. So
I
cool,
love
good
it. We'll
stuff,
go to
man.
freedomplanningcall.com if you want help. Our team and I will help you with it. We'd love to give you a game plan to see big results. This is the time to dial in your business. And Carl, I love it. You always come up with the thing that's the deeper thing. And I love the fact about just thinking about what over $1 million does. Um, it gives you the ability to get from a life of just getting by to a life of abundance. And that's what we want for you, is to have a life of abundance. You can do it. You're worthy. You're made for this. We can help you if you don't have a plan. freedomplanningcall.com. And until the next episode, remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See you.